Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Triple N Media. I am NIK NIKAM. In this presentation, we are going to look at the technical analysis of Tesla stock and see where it is headed. As you recall, Tesla hit $990 and change, and on February 16th, when the Nasdaq started to drop, the Tesla was around $795. It went as low as $539 on May 5th, and when Nasdaq made a positive turn, the Tesla has recovered all the way up to $693.84. So where does Tesla stand in comparison to Nasdaq, and where is it headed in the coming days and weeks? The chart is extremely busy, but let me try to explain to you as what we can deduct from this. This blue line is the Nasdaq, and you can see Tesla has been underperforming compared to the Nasdaq QQQ or triple Q. Let me go over some of the technical indicators that I am using. I am using the parabolic source. I have the Bollinger Bands here. Then I have the 50-point moving average. That's the 50-point moving average. Then we have the 13-point moving average. And this is the 20-point moving average, which is part of the Bollinger Bands. Here is the slow stochastic and MACD and RSI. These are all indicators which help us to identify a point of entry or a point of exit. But they are not always accurate. But when we combine these two things and then go to a smaller time frame from a daily chart to 60-minute chart, we may be able to fine-tune some of these indicators. So in the future, if you want to trade, we can see where does the opportunity begin and where should we be exiting. Let's look at three big buy opportunities that we can see here. There's one here, there was another one here, and there is another one here, and possibly this one. Would you just rely on one indicator? Absolutely no. If you look at these things, number one, let's take this for example. All the candles were piercing through the lower Bollinger Band line. That's an indication we are dealing with an impulsive wave, and after that we have a little pause here. So the short-term stochastics crossed over the long-term stochastic. As a result, this is a buy signal. And again, we had the RSI, which was along the same lines it was coming up. So given these two conditions, along with the fact that the impulsive wave was sort of paused by these candles, it would have been a good entry point here, and if you did, you could have made some profit. Similarly, the parabolic source, or putting the dots below the stock price, then you just follow those, and when it hits, that's when they say to sell it. But again, you have to make a decision when the candle heights become smaller and smaller. That's the time to look to get out of the market. So that's number one. And let's look at number two here. Here it was a crossing of the line. This was a good point from the stochastic. This one, Bollinger Bands, helped a little bit because the heights were getting smaller, and then it was trying to flip over, but it took a little while for it to flip over. And coming back to the RSI, it touched the baseline 50, and then it went up. This, if you had bought it at the end of this candle, you probably would have made some profit if you had the stomach to stay in the market for several days. The next one was, this is not real clear cut here, but nonetheless, here it stopped. But as we can see, we had an impulsive wave because all these candles were piercing through the lower band of the Bollinger Bands, and then there was a reversal, and again there was a reversal here. And the good thing is the RSI, it was from below 50, it moved to above 50. That would have been a time to get in. Then if he had gotten in and stayed, he would have probably gotten beaten here. But again, it came back here in the 50%, and then it bounced back. And so this was another good place to get into the market. So going forwards, how do we apply this information? As I said, right now, the stock movement, the prices are very narrow here. The bands are very narrow. So this is a sort of a consolidation, and it can either break above the consolidation, or it could retrace some of its impulse wave. And none of these indicators are giving any signal as to which direction we are headed. I would look for some clear indication as to which way it is going. Supposing this comes down all the way here, that's an indication it may be an oversold situation. And also this might help us. The 50-point moving average shows the price to be 643, and the lower Bollinger Band is 662. So these are some of the things I would look at, and if we see a scenario, something like this, it may be a good point to enter. Let's go on a 60-minute interval and see what we can do. Let's go to 1 month period. Let's go to a 30-minute interval and see how things look here. So this is a 30-minute interval. It is extremely busy, but it's giving you some more signals. Like this is a very good signal where it was coming from below and crossing the yellow line. So that was an indication to get into the market. And here's another point where we could have gotten in. And right now it is sort of in a no man's land. So I would look for little stronger signals, such as the RSI coming from below and crossing the 50% line, or a stochastic coming from below and crossing the slower stochastic line, or an MACD like this, which crosses over from minus bars to plus bars. I hope this has given you some insight as to where we are and what would be a good entry point. And this is when the Bollinger Bands become narrower, it's called the squeeze, or it is sort of a consolidation. After that, I would rely on these indicators to tell me whether it's a good point to enter or short the stock. Thank you so much for watching this presentation, and please do subscribe to our channel. And if you would like me to do a technical analysis on any other stock, just leave the stock name and I will be happy to pull up that stock and look at these parameters and see what were the buying opportunities in the past and how do we look for those in the future.